sometimes it's more about what you don't have than what you do. And in this case, I'm here with a fairly basic truck. Welcome to Out Motorsports, the channel for cars as you are. My name is Jake, and this is the 2025 Ram 1500 Warlock. Much like my shorts, it kind of covers the essentials and nothing more, and it's actually a pretty good value in a couple cases. So let's talk about what this thing is. So to get into it, this is basically a Ram 1500 Tradesman, which is the base model truck with some key upgrades that make it kind of a value-priced Rebel, which is one tier down from the RHO, which is their best off-road model of Ram 1500. Now, the Warlock trim was on the prior generation truck, which was sold until recently as the Classic. That's now gone, so they brought it to this guy. So what that gets, first of all, drivetrain-wise, is the 3-liter twin-turbo inline-6. It's called the Hurricane inline-6. That replaces the Hemi V8, and this is the standard output, not the high output on some of the higher trucks. So this is going to be 420 horsepower and 469 pound-feet of torque. Nice. That is paired to a standard 8-speed torque converter automatic and standard 4-wheel drive with high and low range. Now, you don't get automatic 4-wheel drive. You do have to push the little buttons yourself, but I think you'll probably be okay. In this case, this one has been optioned with an optional 392 rear differential, but the standard is, I think, a 355. Now, where this gets kind of interesting, you'll notice the wheels and tires. It's got optional all-terrains, well, standard for this trim, but it's got all-terrains, and that's all paired to other bits that make this kind of a budget Rebel of sorts. You get a 1-inch lift, you get some skid plates, you get some Bilstein shocks, and you get a limited slip rear differential. So all of that plus the tires make this somewhat more capable than a street truck, like a Laramie or a Tradesman or a, I don't know, Bighorn, whatever they're calling all the trims. And this is still going to be fairly basic. You're going to get more basic inside, and that's what I want to show you because it's honestly kind of refreshing. We get a lot of fully loaded vehicles when we get them to test, and this has a cloth bench seat that is not power operated, among other things. So let me take you inside. So first things first, I mentioned that cloth bench seat, and here it is. This is pretty nice cloth material. It's not going to be cheesy cloth like things from the old days, but it is indeed a manually adjustable seat. So you've got this guy here for your backrest, and then yes, just like in days of old, this bar is going to move the driver's seat. Now, this is a split bench, so the driver's seat can move independently from the passenger side of things. You do have a regular kind of console going on here with cup holders and an armrest that's padded. It's like a vinyl material, and then it's actually got some decent storage in here. But if you need to have a third front passenger, all you do is flip this up, and then look at that. You've got a bench seat, and unlike old bench seats, you do have actually a center shoulder belt, so that's really, really nice. Now, when this is up, you do have some okay storage going on. Given the bench, you've got some storage right down here, some little pockets of different things, and then Ram also still included 2 sets of USB ports. You've got USB A and C and an auxiliary input here, so they did get that. Now, I'm sure some people are going to care about the key situation. In this case, it still is keyless entry and go. You do not get the touch sensors on the door handles, though, so you do have to use the buttons to lock and unlock the truck, but you do have remote start, so that's kind of nice. Now, when we hop in here, go ahead and get in, you'll see we've also got real dials. I really love that. I'm kind of over this screens everywhere thing. I've been over it really since they started doing the whole thing across the industry, and this is really nice. You've got real dials for your tach, your coolant, your speedometer, and your fuel, and then you've got the center display that can show you kind of whatever you want. That's controlled with these buttons here on the steering wheel, so you can go through and see what you're playing, your navigation, your settings, all that good stuff. So that is very, very usable. This is kind of a similar setup to what they had on the prior gen trucks as well, and it's really, really great. Now, looking over here, you still have power windows. You've got express up and down on the fronts. You don't have power folding mirrors. That's one thing that you're not going to get, but they are heated, which is nice. So that is indeed something. And then looking over here, you've also got adaptive cruise control. So you've got that, but you don't get controls on the back of the wheel, as with most Stellantis products. You don't get the controls for volume and track changes for your sound system, your music. So that is something I kind of wish they had, but they don't. And then this steering wheel is going to be a molded, urethane, plastic, whatever you want to call it. It's kind of nice. It's got the little leather look going on here, but I don't know if you can see it on camera or not. There is a bit of a line right here that you can kind of feel with your fingers, but it is what it is. And then given the keyless go, it is still keyless start as well with the button you can hit. I mentioned you do have to push the buttons for four-wheel drive. Poor thing, but they are right here with the rotary shift dial. That is not a problem no matter how many people on the internet say it is. Auto start stop. And then this one does have the electronic locking rear axle, so that will lock that differential. Now the other thing that I really love, unlike the higher trim Rams, you don't have the gigantic 12 or whatever inch UConnect screen. This is 8-inch, and it's got wireless CarPlay, wireless Android Auto. You can go back to the built-in Stellantis setup if you want, or you can just be in CarPlay. It's very easy to use, it's pretty snappy, and this is really everything you need and nothing you don't, and I just think that's fantastic. You've got real buttons, you've got knobs for volume and tuning, and then you've got real knobs for climate control. Look at that. Oh, so amazing. Some controls for your park sensors, you do have those, and a really nice, actually, backup camera here, very high quality for what it is. Your tow haul mode, your traction control. If the truck had a built-in trailer brake controller, it would be right here, but this one does not. And then we don't have a sunroof. It's just a blank roof up here, but we do have a power opening rear window, so you do at least have that. So this is all a really neat package to me. I think it's like everything you need and nothing you don't, like I said. And the pricing on this is a bit much for the sake of MSRP. However, there's a lot of incentives on these, and you can take almost $10,000 off the sticker. So this is about 58 grand MSRP, but as of today, we're in late April of 2025 when I film this, there's about $9,000 in incentives. And for that kind of money, I think it ends up being fairly competitive. So let's get on the road and talk a little bit about how this drives, because it is pretty good, all things considered, for being a more basic truck in the half-ton category. All right, so first things first with this Ram 1500 Warlock, it is quiet in here, which is something that I am really impressed by, given this is a fairly basic model of truck. This is based on the Tradesman, and you would expect a very top trim Ram to be quiet, like a Limited or whatever, but to get it in the base model as well, or almost base model, is really impressive, especially given the fact that it's got the all-terrain tires, not a highway tire. So even at highway speeds, it's just really pleasant in here, and that I think is really, it's a fantastic little surprise and delight moment among anything else. With a little acceleration moment, the Hurricane is really strong. I've towed with one of these that's got the Hurricane high output. I'm in traffic, I'm in rush hour traffic, and I've got a gallon of paint in the back seat because I'm painting my bathroom this weekend. But in any case, even at full throttle, this feels really, really strong. The boost comes in and just stays strong right up to redline, which is, it's a fantastic engine. I've driven it in the Rams, I've driven it in the Grand Wagoneers, and it just rips and it sounds good. I would not take the Hemi over this. So for all of you that want a V8, I love you dearly, but you're wrong unless you just want the sound. This is by far the better choice for usability. It's great at low RPMs in the city. It's great when you're towing. It's great at higher RPMs on an on-ramp. It's nice. So that's paired to an 8-speed that listens, it behaves. It does have the gear limit buttons on the steering wheel, which is fine. They're convenient enough. They're not going to be, paddles, but they're right here where you need them. So shifting situation is, again, fine. And then the other thing I'm really pleased with, and this is kind of typical of trucks that have a little bit more off-road touch to them versus a straight highway sort of cruiser truck, the ride is really good. And I kind of giggle about that because, you would think in the city, why would you want all of this off-road hardware? Just get the one that's got the highway tires and the street suspension. The roads in a city are not often the best. And this suspension rides so nicely for city use. It's soft, it's supple, it soaks things up, and perhaps the best part of it is that even when you end up kind of doing silly things and pushing the truck, through a sweepery off-ramp or, doing something that a truck doesn't want to do necessarily, it just kind of handles it. It's a little soft, it's a little, you gotta work with it. It's not a sports car, but it's pretty compliant. It's pretty predictable. It's pretty easy to do dumb stuff in and have it feel pretty good. So it's really well sorted. And then that's paired, obviously I'm not really using the brakes right here. This is truly just, this is filming this at 6:30 on a Tuesday. This was a terrible idea. This is paired to brakes that have a really good initial bite. The pedal feel is fantastic. It's, you know, good right as you get into it, and then as you sink your foot further in, it feels even better. And, you know, the whole truck is just nice and balanced. So, you know, it feels really, really good. Go ahead and let these nice people walk and then hit this on-ramp here. All right, we won't spill the paint, but we'll lay into it a little bit. Everything you need, nothing you don't. The Hurricane high output will indeed be faster, but this is more than quick enough for a half-ton truck. If you're towing really, really heavy right up toward the limit of the chassis, then yes, you want the high output. I think you have to get it in a different trim. I don't think they offer it in this, but regardless, if you're not towing like 11,000 or 12,000 pounds, which is really a lot for a half-ton chassis anyway, if you're towing 6, 7, 8, this will be fine. It'll have to work a little bit and it's fine. So really good truck. And then when we talk about the interior, these seats are pretty comfortable. I love the fact that the cloth is nice. It's not heated, which I would love that to even be an option, and it's not, but the seats are comfortable. Cloth is great because, you know, it doesn't hold heat and cold nearly as much as leather does. And, you know, I've got a good driving position. The truck is great for tall people, as you would kind of expect with any truck, but good driving position for someone of my size. I'm 6'1", which I talk about all the time. And, you know, good visibility out of here too. The pillars, the A-pillars are a little bit big, but fine for the sake of safety and airbags and all that. You know, the door sills are nice and low. The dash is nice and low for a truck. You've got good visibility when you look out toward the rear even. Nice big back window. Obviously I would love a sunroof, but that's not really in the spirit of a basic truck, but it can feel a little dark just given the black interior and not a ton of sunlight coming in from the roof, but, you know, whatever. This is a more entry-level model. And then working with the center stack and all the controls here in the middle, I don't miss the big touch screen. I don't know how big you need to have Apple Maps or Google Maps on your screen in the first place. No, it does not include navigation on this version of UConnect. All it's really got is music and then phone mirroring, which I'm okay with because, I don't know about y'all, I don't really use built-in navigation unless I'm kind of forced to. My phone is always up to date. I don't pay a separate subscription fee to keep the truck alive. This is more than fine for what I do with a truck. The base sound system is also pretty good. It's not, you know, going to be a higher end upgraded sort of system, but it's got pretty decent separation of highs and lows and mids. It's got pretty decent bass. You can get it pretty loud without any sort of distortion. It's totally fine. And simple climate controls, you can use them with gloves, you can use them without taking your eyes off the road. Nice easy toggles below that for some of those other controls. It's just, this is a really thought through functional setup in here. And I mean, I kind of think this is not a Ram thing. I'm just using them as an example because they sent me this lovely truck that doesn't really have anything extra going on. I think we're kind of at over screenification here. And I think some automakers are seeing that. Hyundai, for example, made a statement that within the next generation or two, they're going to be dropping a lot of touch controls in favor of moving back to physical controls. All automakers, please do this. It is better, it is safer, it is easier to deal with. We got to get past this screen thing. It's a fad. And this truck is so nice and simple as a result, and I'm just so pleased with it. What would I change? I don't love the steering wheel being polyurethane, plastic, whatever. I don't especially love the feel of that. I wish this had a leather wheel. Otherwise, it rides nice. This is on the basic like steel spring suspension. It's not an air height adjustable. I don't need that. All the controls are logically laid out. It drives fantastic for what it is. It rides really nice. It's quiet. This is everything you need and nothing you don't. And it's been very refreshing to spend some time with this truck and live with it a little bit. I'm not towing with it because unfortunately it doesn't line up with a race weekend or other need to tow, but they do tow nicely. You know, I towed with a higher end model that had the Air and it had the high output Hurricane. It did really well, but we'll try and get one of these back and tow with the steel spring setup because I know a lot of you are going to be wanting that and not the higher end Air ride, although, you know, it's a nice thing to have. And that'll do it for this drive in the 2025 Ram 1500 Warlock. I keep wanting to call it a Tradesman because that's what it's based on, but this is indeed the Warlock package. Trim, whatever. That's what it's called. In any case, thank you so much for coming along. Be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you love this video, leave some comments, tell all your friends. If you hated the video, don't tell anybody. And join us at outmotorsports.com. We've got a whole community over there that would love to be your new besties. We're here for all the LGBT automotive enthusiasts and motorsports competitors, and we're so happy to keep finding more and more of you to join our little gaggle. So join our membership program over there. We've got the whole community, we've got member discounts, we've got all of our events coming up all around the country, and we've got some fun stuff online as well. So please, until next time, stay safe, be well, see you again soon.